Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Good Tuesday. Hope everybody's doing well. Coming today, kicking off Inspired Life Masterclass series. Today is really the introduction, kind of the intro to an overview of what the Masterclass series is all about. This is something I really prayed about and thought about. Something that came to me about this inspired life, and we kind of designed the words and the manner in which it reflects the I and the N, accentuating the I and the N, the inside of you, inspired from the inside out, the inspired life. And I know we can get inspired by a number of things, whether they're internal or external, but I really want to take us through a journey of sorts, a walk along the path of the inspired life. What you're inspired through within you as opposed to outside of you. I think it's important. I don't think we spend enough time with that. Over the past 10 years, I think as a business owner, we have the honor of doing things that we love for business, but we seldom have an opportunity to really share what we've learned. Recently, a couple of colleagues and I, we shared some things that we learned from a couple of important clients of ours, and I thought it was a great opportunity to say thank you to them, but also to share what those learnings have been. But I've been, in this work around leadership, but really more importantly, life and leadership for over 10 years now. And I've learned a heck of a lot. More importantly, I think I've learned more about myself than anything, and how those learnings have taken shape in my personal life, in the way I see myself, the way I have leaned into how God has created me, and really owned my personal evolution in this journey we call life. It's been a process. It's been a journey. And an Inspired Life Masterclass is about our individual journeys, that really are ultimately collective journeys when we think about it in a broad sense, because we are all living this life at the same time. I often watch David Chappelle. I love Chappelle. If you like him, hopefully that's good. If you don't, I understand. But I love him for a number of reasons. He's a high intellectual individual, and I love mixing intellect with comedy. And I heard him speak in one of his stand-up routines about his friendship with someone who identified as trans, and how this friendship blossomed and how it came to be. But his friend, she said something in this moment of when they were building this friendship. It was very in real time in one of his stand-up routines in a comic store out on the West Coast. In real time, she said something in response to someone in the audience. She said that she doesn't need people to understand her. She just wants people to know that she's having a human experience. And even now, just saying that Like I knew I was going to say this. I knew I was going to share the story with you. And even in saying it, my eyes water up and I get emotional because I found that in the past 10 years that I've been actively kind of present in hearing people's story, listening to people, living in my own story. I found that this one connection that we all have, we have many, I believe, but this one, which I firmly believe we have, is that we're all living and having a human experience. We're having a human experience. And I believe that we don't often enough really admit that. Sometimes I don't think we have the language for that. And it's difficult sometimes, I think, for us to articulate that. Like, we're just having a human experience. It's not right or wrong. It's not you agree or I disagree. It's not up or down, left or right. It's not, I need you to understand, as she so eloquently shared. I just want you to know I'm having a human experience. And I sat with that. I remember when I heard the bit, when I was looking at TikTok, I heard the bit and I saved the video. I have hundreds of videos from TikTok that I saved. And this is one of those ones I saved. And I replayed it and I listened to it when he said it. And when he said it, you could feel his emotion. You could feel almost like a light bulb went off in his head. That, yeah, like I get that. That you want people to know that you're having a human experience, period. You don't have to say yes or no. You don't have to agree. You don't have to get it. It doesn't have to resonate with you. I just need you to know I'm having a human experience. And I believe that's a starting point for an inspired life. For us to have a life that is inspired from within, that we've taken the time to be with ourselves, to sit quietly, to ask ourselves questions. I was in a client session a couple of weeks ago, doing the thing that I do. We talk about heart work and we talk about the intrapersonal experience that heart work is. And I always bring up the fact that I don't believe that we spend enough time with ourselves. At some point, we move from child to young adult to in the world, fast-paced moving, and we're responding to the world's needs. We are trying to fit in as opposed to add. I'm going to sit that with you. As opposed to add to the world, we're trying our best to fit in. And I believe when we seek to fit in, we diminish and we set aside the gifts and the purpose that we add to the world because we're so busy trying to respond and fit in to something that's not even meant for those pieces to connect. It's not meant for that to happen actually that way. I firmly believe we're meant to add to the world. Each of us adds, and in adding, we begin to multiply. But at some point, that's not what happens. We get to a point in our life around that 18, 19, 20, 21 years space in this world, and we begin to see the world in a way that says, I need to respond to what the world says I should be, what the world says I should do. And instead of instead of leading at least an inspired life, we begin to lead a motivated life, motivated by outside worldly things. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here for the next few weeks to talk about what's so bad in the world. I really want us to talk about over the next few weeks what's so extraordinary within inside of us. What is extraordinary inside of you? What is inspiring inside of you? It's easy to look at the news and it's easy to be down on the world in many cases. It's easy to be down on all that may be happening within the world. It's also easy to be triggered by the treasures of the world that we seek, the material things that are before us. Every single moment of every single day, we see the treasures of the world, the worldly things that intrigue us, that may motivate us to fit in, to figure it out, to how can I get more of that. It's easy. But if you're willing to maybe set aside what you may already know, which is the world, for the next few weeks, and just take a break, take a pause. Take a pause and maybe walk along this journey about what does an inspired life look like? What does that mean? What does it mean for me? What does it mean I must do? What does it mean on the other side of things? How will my life evolve? How will I change? How will I look on the other side of this experience? A lot of questions, a lot of what ifs. I would only say that the only response I would say to you is, why not? Why not? Why not take the next few weeks to maybe investigate and examine what an inspired life can look like for you? You know, 10 years ago when I started my firm, Hard Work Leadership Group, it started really out of a personal necessity. It was really selfish. And I, I found myself helping others, but really I started it because I needed it. I needed an outlet that spoke to my heart. I needed a space that spoke to my life, that inspired me, that ignited me, that invigorated me. I needed it because I was in a space where I was drowning in fitting in. I was drowning in fitting in. And so I pulled on this opportunity to speak my truth. I wanted to speak what I felt to be my truth, my existence. I wanted to speak how I added to this world. I wanted to share that. And I wanted to ultimately, I found myself wanting to help others add to the world. Sometimes some of the best things come out of a selfish act. I found myself immediately seeing that it wasn't just me that wanted to add to the world. It was others. I believe we all want to add to the world. I believe some of the most hurt people, some of the most traumatized people, some of the meanest people, yes, they want to add to the world. I often talk with my kids when they have emotional outbreaks and they just, they go off the handle and they articulate in very eloquent fashion sometimes. I was just so angry. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. And I just did what I only could do. These are from 8, 9-year-olds, these feelings articulated in such eloquent ways. I just didn't know how to respond. I was angry. I believe 8, 9-year-olds that don't have a surrounding of people who are able to help them through that growth space of understanding how to address and deal with that type of anger turn into 20 and 30-year-olds who don't know how to address that anger, that hurt, that trauma, whatever it may be. And so 10 years ago, I started that path to try and figure out why I was feeling the way I was feeling in so many instances, that anger towards people in my life, towards family members, that resentment, that hurt that was so deep, how I was responding to them. I searched for me. I searched for what now I call an inspired life. And that search was a slow process. Day by day, month by month, year by year, over time, finding and, more importantly, revealing me. It's a journey. It's a human experience. And far too often I've seen now in rooms with thousands of leaders over the past 10 years that we are seeking our human experience. We are seeking the ability to put language to our human experience, to be vulnerable in our human experience, to be able to be authentic in our human experience. We are seeking an inspired life. But it's difficult to seek something, an inspired life, when we're trying to fit in. It's difficult to add when we're trying to fit in. It's difficult to know what you add when we're trying to fit in. It's difficult to know who and whom you are sometimes when we're trying to fit in. So over the next few weeks, I want us to walk through a journey that's guided through not only your personal story, my personal story, but your personal story. It's our collective walk, if you will, to understand more, what does an inspired life mean? So over the years, as I was learning and I was hearing folks share their stories, as I was having cry after cry after cry in rooms with people who I didn't know, but felt like we had this connection that we had known each other for decades, the work began to develop and design itself. It became clear by each year what this is. And hard work leadership wasn't initially hard work leadership. It was something else. And hard work leadership came about through the process in the journey, through hearing stories, sharing stories, crying with others, holding others, learning the ups, the downs, tough relationships, home life, all going to hell. My personal experience was rough. It was tried, but it helped me reach a point like in 2019 to where it was on the cusp of understanding what the journey was called. And it ultimately came to fruition when I wrote my first book, right? Going into the heart of COVID in 2020, where I was determined to finish this book. I had been writing the book for a while. I couldn't finish it. It was heart-wrenching because it was a personal experience story, and I was just determined to finish it, but I kept on moving around on the title. I kept on trying to figure out what would the title be. And it came to me that this journey that I've been on, this journey that we all are on, this inspired life that we seek, that journey was called hard work. And so it became hard work. And because of that first book, it ignited something in me to continue to write. It was, again, really from a selfish standpoint. I needed it. I needed to continue to write for me. I needed to continue to release my feelings in some mediums, in some form. And since I wanted it to help me as I wrote it, I knew it would help others, because the written form is beautiful, because once it's written, you can't take it back. You can speak it, you can act it out, you can do a lot of things with it. But once it's written, it's good. And so selfishly, I needed to continue to write. And so instead of, doing things like I normally do, which is like I'll pick up a project, and it'll be abstract, and then I'll throw it down and pick up another project, it'll be abstract. I decided to write in a linear train of thought. I wanted to connect dots. And so I wasn't going to be abstract. I just continued to write. And what came next was Plan B Sucks. Plan B Sucks was a book I wrote because after writing Hard Work, I felt a sense of cleansing. And so after writing Hard Work, I'm often on TikTok watching videos, inspirational videos. And I came across a video where Will Smith made the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. It's a true story, and the character that he portrayed, the gentleman, was on TikTok video, and he said Plan B sucks, and he talked about why Plan B sucks, and it struck me when he said Plan B sucks, because for so long, growing up, people always tell you to have a Plan B. You got to have a Plan B. What if this doesn't work out? What if that doesn't happen for you? What are you going to do? What are you going to fall back on? And he went into this heated, inspirational talk about why Plan B sucks. Plan B sucks because you have now basically admitted that Plan A, that you're not going to give it everything you have. You're not going to commit to it fully. That you need a fallback plan. And because of that, how will you accomplish what Plan A is? And for me, Plan B sucks meant that you must live in your gift. Your Plan A is your gift. And to me, it wasn't about literally taking this language about Plan B to mean a plan in itself. I really wanted to look at it as a metaphor. You are Plan A. Your gift is that Plan A. And so I wanted to share my feelings about why Plan B does suck, and why so many of us are living an uninspired life, trying to fit in, miserable in our skin, when all we need to do is live in our gift. That's all we need to do. Glenn, we can't make money by your gift. You can't make money by your passion. I'm not talking about making money. I'm talking about living an inspired life. I need for us for the next few weeks to disconnect this association between living an inspired life, a joyous life, with having money. We have to disconnect the two. In order for us to fully move through this experience of this inspired life experience, we have to disassociate money and living a joyous life. My father recently passed away, going on almost a year. And what was striking while I was with him is in his physical body, he lay there, and as he passed away, as he transitioned, the only feeling I could have is that he was experiencing joy because my sister and I were there with him, that he could at least see us, that he experienced a sense of joy. His house that he owned could not bring him joy in that moment. It meant nothing for him. It could do nothing for him. The house set on the land, on the parcel of land by itself. The house was not in the hospital room with us. It did not stand before him. It did not transition with him. It's still there to this day. But joy for him, I can only pray and imagine that it was because we sat there with him, that he was not alone. His bank accounts that he had, for whatever money that was in them, that money did not go with him. They did not bring that money into the hospital room and set it next to his bedside and asked him to look over it, to see it, to touch it, and to count it. They didn't ask him to take an accounting of his financial rewards before he transitioned. His money was still in the bank. When he passed away, his money stayed in the bank. It didn't go anywhere. His car, his watches, his jewelry, his clothes, his bicycles. They did not usher them into the hospital room. I can only pray that his joy was seeing the ones who loved him beside him. I don't know who is hearing this. I don't know who needs to hear this. But I'm asking you. What do you want your last days to look like? And whatever that is, whether it's surrounded by loved ones, those who care about you, those you care about, whatever it is, I would only say to you, then live your life like that now. I've only had that one experience. I was with my father, but I will tell you, I imagine that that's probably what happens more than likely for all of us, that they're not ushering in bank accounts. They're not ushering in houses and clothes and cars within hospital rooms. That those things do not go with us. So I think it's behooves us to, however we want those last days to look, that we begin to live that life right now, the inspired life. After Plan B sucks, after I wrote Plan B sucks, I continue to write. I continue to have inspiration. It's, again, selfish for me because I needed to continue to pour out of my heart what I was feeling, what I was thinking about my personal life and my personal journey. And so I wrote Trust Life. Trust Life came about because I have been a fan of Oprah. Everybody knows Oprah for a long time. And she introduced me to a gentleman by the name of Brother David Stadlin Last, a Benedictine monk. And I began to read his writings and study him. And the one interview that she had with him that I saw, I now have probably viewed it, I know, over 30 times. I've watched it, taken notes. And he said so many amazing things that really touched my heart. But he said one particular thing that really sat with me. He said that when we trust life, life gives us good things. And I sat with that. It struck me. Hopefully it touched you. When we trust life, life gives you good things. And I had to really process all of what that means, like all those words, like what does this mean? Like when we trust life, what does it mean to trust life? Right? It's like, what does it mean to trust life? Life is going to gives us a hand. It's like spades. I don't know if you play spades or maybe tonk. Maybe you play tonk. You never know what hand you're going to get. But if you're a true player, you know that I'm going to play the hell out of this hand, and I'm going to hope for a better hand next go round. And typically, when the cards get shuffled, because hopefully you're shuffling the cards, when life shuffles, that next hand, maybe you get a couple of more spades. The next hand, maybe you get a couple of more aces and kings and queens. But at least you're there to play it again. He said when you trust life, life gives you good things, not extraordinary things, not clean things, not nice things, not rewarding things, not expensive things. Life, when you trust life, life gives you good things. I think we need to really investigate and examine the word good. Goodness. It gives you good things. I like that word. If you're a Bible reader, if you ever read the Bible, you find the word good in the Bible in a very unique fashion. Good. So I wrote a book entitled it Trust Life, My Gratitude Letter to God. I was moved by those words. When you trust life, life gives you good things. And because as I reflected, life had given me so many good things. Even with those bad hands sometimes. You get those hands in spades. You get a shuffler, all of a sudden you got hearts all across the board, hearts and diamonds and clubs and no spades. You look at your partner and, man, this is like real life stories, right? You look at your partner and you're thinking to myself, I can't contribute anything. And your partner looks at you, you got a good partner. You got a good partner in life. Your partner looks at you and say, hey, just play your hand. Just play your hand. We'll get them on the next one. Just play your hand. I wrote Trust Life, My Gratitude Letter to God, because I wanted to say thank you. And more importantly, I wanted to share why we should trust life and why we should say thank you, even in those bad hands. Somebody asked me, one time, Glenn, well, how do we figure out when all this bad stuff is happening, and like why does God have this bad stuff happening? God is a loving God, is a gracious God, a blessing God. Why do these bad things happen? I just shrug and I say, well, listen, bad things may be happening in your life, but they're not really happening to you. They're happening in your life. And the reason why it's happening is because the reality of it is that Just because a bad thing happens doesn't mean God is doing something to you. Have you ever paused and stopped and asked the question, is God doing something in you? You see, what we sometimes may call a bad thing, we discount it as something bad, but can it not be something that's being done in me for the greater good so that I may bless God? It's a question that I believe we must ask. It's the reason I believe we must trust life. Life will give us good things. That doesn't mean we're going to get everything we want at all times. It doesn't mean that people won't get sick. It doesn't mean people won't die. It doesn't mean that bills won't be late. It doesn't mean that houses won't get foreclosed on. It doesn't mean cars won't get repossessed. It doesn't mean we won't make bad decisions. It doesn't mean that bad things won't happen. But we first must trust life, though. It will give us good things. And so after trust life, I continue to write. I continue to think about, well, what does that mean then when we trust life? What happens, after, like, what do I have to actually hold my hat on, hang my hat on and hold on to tangibly? What does that mean to trust life? And it came to me, this scripture for me. I love the scripture that reads, "My gift will make room." And so I said, that's the title of the next book, "My Gift Will Make Room." My Gift Will Make Room was really also just a continuation of a reflection of sorts, to where I've seen my personal life experience over the past 10 years morph and evolve through a gift, not through something I forced, not through something that I acknowledged, self-proclaimed. It was inherently inside of me that just kept on coming out, just kept on presenting itself. My gift will make room. What does that mean? My gift will make room says that you are a gift to the world if only you will illuminate your gift through adding, not fitting in, through looking inside, not looking outside, to adopting what has been placed inside of you naturally. Your gift, whatever that is, the thing that you do so exceptionally well that you don't need to work at it. And that doesn't mean you don't need to nurture it. You don't need to develop it more. It means that you just do it so exceptionally well that if you didn't work at it, you still would have a really good gift. But we know gifts are meant to be given. And in order for it to be given, in order for it to multiply, we must nurture it. So my gift will make room is a call for us to nurture the gift. Whatever that gift is, to pause and to reflect and ask the question, what is my gift? What do I do so exceptionally well? And then begin to nurture whatever that is. This span of time, these books, they are not just books, they really reflect and represent, again, going back to that story with Dave Chappelle, it reflects really the human experience written. That's really what it is for me. And I wanted to share it in some fashion that can actually help people walk through step by step what they mean, what they can mean. And so it's called the Inspired Life. And I hope that you will walk this journey with us. So, the first book is Hard Work. This is the first one we're going to jump into on our next session next week. We're going to talk about some of the craziness that happens in hard work, some of the things that really are really profound, that really are the beginning of this journey of an inspired life. And then there's Plan B Sucks. Plan B Sucks is that next level. We start talking about the real. Why is it that I may be in this funk? Why is it that I've been kind of disenchanted? Why is it that I've been just really not hitting my head against the wall, not really feeling like my life has meaning and has value? Like, why is it? This is it. This is where we start that conversation. And then Trust Life. Trust Life begins to say, now that we've answered some of those why questions, now let's talk about how. Let's talk about how we begin to trust life, how we begin to use our purpose, what we're here for. To shout out a thank you for having me here. And now it's time for me to trust life and play my hands, good and the bad. Reshuffle, get another hand. Reshuffle, get another hand. Keep on playing. This is his book right here. Because we know that they're not ushering in anything of these worldly possessions. They're not ushering them in on my last day. If we're so fortunate to know we have a last day, they're definitely not bringing those things in. So why not live the life right now that I want to live on my dying days? And then this, my gift will make room. My gift will make room is almost like a full circle moment for the how, for to deepen the how of it's you. That's how. It's leaning into how and what God created inside of you. That's how. It's not seeing all of the things in the world and your sight vision that suggests to you that you must fit in, that you must do something aside from what was inherently placed inside of you, that you must actually seek something that is externally outside of you that brings you no value and or purpose, as opposed to seeking the inspired life, the gift inside of you that adds to the world, something that you do so exceptionally well. And in all of what you then do, whether you're sweeping floors or flying a plane, you take that gift with you because it's your gift. And your gift will make room. That is the inspired life. That's the life I seek to live every single day. I define it by what I feed myself, what I see on my phone, what I watch on TV, the news that I hear and read, the conversations that I participate in. They're all fuel and food, not only for my spirit and my mind, but also then what do I feed my body? How am I preparing myself to be a giving of my gift? You know, in our work, we participate and we conduct studies and research, and we find that many leaders, one of the top data points that we see, it's high data point, more than 70% of leaders don't get adequate sleep. I was sleeping this morning. I stayed up too late last night. When you don't get rest, it affects how you show up. What are you feeding your body? Are you feeding your body adequate sleep? Are you feeding your body foods that can fuel you, or foods that are breaking your body down? Your gift needs fuel. Your gift needs fuel that actually will help you last. Brother David Stanley says that joy is a happiness that lasts. That's how he says it. I love that. Happiness within itself is fleeting. It comes and goes. But joy is lasting because it's a happiness that lasts. Joy is not concerned with you having sad moments or being angry, because even in sadness and anger, joy exists. I have joy even in the moment as I sit next to my dad as he took his last breaths, as he transitioned. I had joy because I was able to be beside him. It's the moments. It's the moments that matter. We can't not be grateful for everything, but we can be grateful for every moment. That's another brother David Stanley saying. Wasn't grateful that my dad died. I was grateful that I had the experience to be with him when he lived, though. Grateful. Grateful for those moments, the good and the bad. So, this is the inspired life. It is not the happy space. It's not the rah space. It will have its ebbs and flows over the next few weeks. We will have open discussion. We will share vulnerable moments, and my hope is that if you don't have the books, that you don't have to have the books, honestly, but it would help. But that you will walk along in this journey, but don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. That's old school. Treat yourself to having these moments over the next few weeks. Don't cheat yourself. You're giving of yourself to so many people. You give to your family, you give to your kids, you give to your spouse, you give to your friends, you give to your job, you give to your church, you give to your community, you give to your fraternity, you give to your social groups. You give and you give and you give and you give. And the one question I ask all these givers is, what are you giving you? When was the last time you gave you something? When was the last time you stopped, paused, took a breath, took a day? Ask yourself some questions. And then sat around and gave yourself some time to answer them. That's what the Inspired Life experience is going to be about. So I'm excited about having this time with you. Listen, this is not for everyone, and that's okay. It's not meant to be for everyone at this moment. But if it is meant for you, I'm excited for it to be for you. That you will walk through this journey and take time for you. This is not about work. This is not about life. About family and life and all the things that happen in life. And because life is going to keep on lifing. This is about you seeking an inspired life. This is about you. And so I'm excited to have this moment with you. So grab the books if you can. If you don't worry. We're going to be here. We're going to talk ourselves through it. Week 4, week 3, week 2, and next week, week 1. I'm excited about it. Can't wait to see you. Looking forward to it. See you soon. See you next week.